Good morning, or good afternoon. My name is Ben, and welcome to the 10th edition of Sesamers on Tour. Yes, it has already been 10 weeks since we kicked off our global tour in Paris. From Australia to Russia, we've been partnering with different tech ecosystems to bring you around the world. If you want to know more about the tour and sign up for updates, head over to tour.sesamers.com. We have 2 more stops coming up, so you might want to check them to be in the loop. Today, we are excited to partner with Startup Valencia to showcase the Spanish tech ecosystem. I have, already been working with Valencia in the past. I will tell more about this later on because I'm actually in a panel with my dear friend and host, to whom I'm passing off the mic, Juan Luis Hortelano, President at Startup Valencia, who begins the session. Juan Luis, how are you doing?
Yeah, fine. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ben, for inviting us and for having Startup Valencia help you co-host this event. Really excited to join you in this amazing event and this amazing tour. And yeah, really looking forward to have the next sessions, and then maybe we can speak later a bit more about what we are doing at Startup Valencia and Valencia itself. But yeah, really happy to be here. Really a nice day in Valencia, and hopefully in all of Spain. And yeah, just looking forward to listen to the great people we have in the next 2 panels. So if you want, we are. I think we are already on time. And the next session,
Perfect.
We will speak about the ecosystem in Spain beyond Madrid and Barcelona. We have our also good friend and the moderator of the session is Javier Mejías. Welcome, Javier. How are you?
Thank you, Luis. It's very nice to be here. And definitely it's a pleasure to be moderating this panel with 2 good friends. Jose, Loreto, can you please turn on the cameras and let me introduce both of them. Loreto Del Valle is the Managing Director of Digital Economy and Innovation at the Regional Government of Andalusia. She is graduated at Telecommunications School, and she began her professional career working for large private corporations in the ICT sector. And in the year 2002, she made the leap to the public sector. There she has developed different management positions, but right now she's the General Director of Digital Economy and Innovation at the Andalusia Regional Government. And she's in charge of the coordination and execution of policies to develop the digital economy and society in Andalusia, with a special focus on business innovation and technological entrepreneurship. As you may imagine, she's quite into this. And last but not least, Jose Iglesias is the Senior Director of Community at Techstars, and he has been an active member of the startup ecosystem in Galicia for over 10 years. And even though he thinks he's way younger than me, I'm afraid his back is not supporting that statement today. Well, he's one of the co-founders of Startup Galicia and a big, important event in Galicia, which is Nose Day. And he also leads the community team at Techstars, where he's supporting right now the ecosystem from over 130 countries, which is quite a lot. So as you may imagine, he definitely knows the ropes of the industry. Loreto, Jose, thank you so much for being here, and let's jump in the fray. Let me first try to give some context, because it's not so common for a relatively small country like Spain to have 2 strong ecosystems like Madrid and Barcelona, which definitely make us feel so proud. But talent has no established birthplace. So I would like to explore with you if there's life beyond Madrid and Barcelona. And to begin with this, I would like to please ask you to explain to the audience the key strengths of the ecosystems you represent, and in which areas do you think they stand out?
Okay. Do I start?
Please.
Well, hello, Javier. Hello, everybody. And in the first place, thank you very mumuch for inviting me to participate in this panel. I am really glad to be here representing the Andalusian ecosystem. And answering your question, Javier, well, I must say that Andalusia is a region that has a lot to offer as a destination for tech companies and workers, no? Because we have some strength that we can exploit. For example, without any doubt, talent and people are the key to any ecosystem. And in our case, Andalusia, is a land of great talent and creative people. We are, as you know, the most populated region in Spain, and thanks to our 10 public universities, we have a very large pool of very good professionals. So startups and companies can find a large pool for engineers to work with them in Andalusia. No? And besides this, we have very competitive labor and living costs, which is very important for a company to settle in a region. And of course, we have an attractive lifestyle thanks to our weather, food and culture, as well as Valencia. But besides talent, if we really want to boost an ecosystem and seize the opportunities to support these technology-based and innovation-based companies, I think we need more ingredients on the recipe. No? We have to create an enabling environment. So that we build the bridges that connect funders to talent, to support, to funding. And in our case, Javier, the government is working to do so. So one of the most important strengths, I should say, of the Andalusian ecosystem is the commitment of the regional government with entrepreneurs. Until 2018, Andalusia didn't appear on the map, on the national map of entrepreneurship. But we have been working really hard for the last few years to change this situation. And fortunately, things are changing for us. No? And we are becoming a more active ecosystem with more weight at a national level. And in fact, we are now considered for many experts an emerging ecosystem, and I think Andalusia and its startups are becoming more and more visible now. So I think we are in the right way. And as I said before, a key factor is that the regional government is leading the roadmap and coordinating the efforts of all the agents, both public and private agents that operate in our ecosystem, to make our region a better place for startups to emerge, to grow and to consolidate. No? And precisely last week, I'm very glad to tell you this, last week the government approved the first strategical plan to support entrepreneurship in Andalusia. This is a project in which we have been working for more than a year, hand in hand with startups and with all the agents in the ecosystem, both public and private, to build together this plan that will lead our policy for the next 7 years. This is a plan that will help us organize and sort out all the resources available in the region, not only public, but also private. So they cover all the stages in the life cycle of a startup. No? And before this, and you know it very well, Javier, we have been working with a startup since 2014. And in fact, we manage the 2 reference acceleration programs in the region in public and private collaboration. These are Andalusia Open Future with Telefónica and Programa Minerva with Vodafone. But these programs focus on early stages companies. So in order to go further, this year we launched a new program called Startup Andalusia Roadshow to work with future scale-up companies. So let me tell you that, well, another key element I would like to remark in our ecosystem is the feeling of community that has been generated during the last years among funders. We are seeing how these successful funders are becoming part of the ecosystem and making it richer. No? Some of them, for example, are becoming investors. Some of them are contributing as mentors to help younger startups. And this is very important, no? to make the ecosystem grow. No? And
thank you. Sorry.
So, well, if you let me just 1 second to finish, one of the main challenges we have ahead is to solve the financing deficit for startups in Andalusia. Because as you well know, Javier, around 90% of the investment operations are taking place in Madrid and Barcelona. So we have started this line of work as well, and we have just signed a contract to put public money in 3 venture capital funds for a total budget of 50.3 million euros, of which 37 million euros comes from public funds. And this is in order to attract investment and reinforce Andalusia on the map. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Loreto. So many things you are doing. It's really nice to hear. Jose, I think you guys, the community part, you are bringing it in even harder and longer. So you guys don't have a community, you have a mafia.
We have a mafia. Yes, we do. And I think it's actually like, you know, I think many cities everywhere are trying to do similar things, right? Both from the community aspect, but also from the government aspect, right? And you mentioned, right? I think in Spain we're lucky that that we have Madrid and Barcelona, obviously, 2 major hubs, but we also have other cities. But it's pretty similar. Like I feel like these conversations are quite similar no matter where you have them. And ultimately, in my experience, and this is more obviously looking at my experience in Galicia, but also my work at Techstars, supporting these different cities, is there is an element which is weird and not a lot of people talk about because it's hard to measure and it's hard to, put together KPIs around that, which is love of place, right? So it's basically topophilia, right? And I think that's something that we do have in Galicia. Like you can sense that some cities have this, or more than other cities, and I think that's an element that in Galicia, we're kind of like, we get to the point that we are sometimes a pain in the ass with it, right? And I think every single person, because we understand that ultimately, obviously Galicia is not the top place in many senses, not only thinking about building a company, but we do have that love of place sense, and I think we're lucky, and pretty sure goes with similar with other regions, which is, if you look at the ecosystem 10 years ago, a lot of the people that were super active pushing for the community there left. And I think most of them, we are back now, right? So, and something that we did obviously is in that, time frame where we are working in other countries or other cities, we continued supporting the ecosystem in Galicia. And now we're coming back with a stronger network, more experience, right? So you're starting to see the diaspora helping and the diaspora coming back, which I think, to me, thinking about non-capital cities, because a lot of it with Madrid and Barcelona and London, it's just, they are massive cities, period. Like is a numbers game. It's a massive city, attracts a ton of talent, a ton of money. Therefore, the startup ecosystem will be stronger, right? But I think for smaller cities, looking at some of the, how demographics are evolving and, the aging population and people living, like, I think the key question that we need to ask is, how can we make sure they come back? Right. And I think that's what's going to ultimately save these cities or these regions, because if not, it doesn't look amazing for them.
So true. And definitely there are some nice traits in the Galicia ecosystem that support this. You guys, it doesn't matter where you are located in any part of the world, you are trying always to support Galician entrepreneurs and bring deal flow and help with connections. So it's quite inspiring. What you guys do.
And I think in Valencia you have the same. Like when you talk to people in Valencia, and I think it's similar in Galicia. I'm not super familiar with Andalusia in general, but I feel like when you talk to a Galician in Madrid, and you talk to someone from Valencia in Madrid or London, whatever, it feels like everyone is trying to push for the same, even though internally, right, when you are in Galicia or in Valencia, there are some frictions, there are things not working, there are problems everywhere. But when you talk to people from those cities, no matter if it's the government or a founder or an investor, you get that sense that, it feels like they have a common goal, maybe different ways to get there, right? But the goal is clear.
That's so damn true. Can you please share with the audience, because they may not know, which are the main companies and key players in each of these ecosystems?
In Andalusia, for example, well, Javier, I think that is a very difficult question to answer, because we are very proud of all of our companies, no? But
it's as if someone asks you which is the song you love most, you love them all.
Okay, well, I can tell you, for example, about Geniali. They are from Córdoba, and they are developing a platform to compete with PowerPoint, and I think they are doing very well, really well. We have also, for example, this company, fast-growing company, Mox, that started in Granada, and they have been with us in Andalusia Open Future in Seville 4 years ago. And now they are one of the most important last mile delivery companies in Spain, and they are working with different sectors of activity. And for example, last year, as I said before, we launched this new program, Startup Andalusia Roadshow for scale-up companies. And the objective of the program was to find the best startups in Andalusia to help them grow and to help them connect with investors, etc. And we received more than 80 requests to participate. And after a few months working with them, we eventually chose five winners. And these are Limno Pharma, these are MyHixel, Scoobic, Owogame, and Wola. No? I think you can learn more about them on our website, but we hope they will be very successful very soon, I hope. And of course, Javier, I can't forget some of our most important exits of the last 2 years. No? You will know FreePick from Malaga, Sofia Things from Seville, Geográfica, Bitnami, Genera Games. I think this proves that not all companies that have made an exit are located in Madrid or Barcelona.
Amazing things happening in Malaga, in Sevilla, and Granada, in every place there. And what about Galicia, Jose?
Sure. I mean, just to mention some of the ones that I think right now are getting the most traction and getting investment, which I think is another sign that we're seeing in Galicia now with, K-Fund and Kibo coming here, obviously supported by our government, which is, I think, their role. So we have Alice Biometrics, which it's an online identity verification solution. They are from Vigo. We have Netext, is a tech company. They're building tools for the education ecosystem, like LMS platform and others. Opposita Test is a platform to prepare for exams. We have Barkibu on the pet tech. Now everything is something tech. So Barkibu just recently raised, I think, $6 million or $7 million, I think it was. So it's an AI platform to prevent pet illnesses. We have Arengu, which was recently raised to, I think all of those are from Coruña now, that I'm from Vigo. But the good thing is that, going back to the love of place idea, whenever we are all Galicia, right? We don't talk about the different cities in Galicia. So we have a lot of great companies here. We have so many great founders that we also export founders like Eloy. We let them go to Valencia to build Jeff.
Well, San definitely is an asset, as you know. Thank you so much. Final question for you both. First, where do you see the room for improvement on your ecosystem? What do you think are the challenges you're going to face in the next years? And also, how has the ecosystem evolved in the last year? Do you see any specialization on those ecosystems? What do you think?
Until few years ago, 2018, Andalusia had never appeared in any report about the startup ecosystems, neither European reports nor national. In fact, until 2014, when we started our acceleration programs for startups, a good company had to go to Madrid or Barcelona if they wanted to really grow their business or meet investors or find customers. No, but I think the ecosystem, fortunately, has changed a lot and in a very good way. So I think we are in the right way because we are building this ecosystem with great potential where Sevilla and Malaga are the main hubs, but well, we work as a region, as Jose has just told us. And for example, to build this strategical plan that we have been working on, as I said to you before, we have done this work hand to hand with all the agents in the ecosystem. No? This is investors, acceleration centers, incubation centers, university, policymakers, teachers, etc. No? When of course, hand in hand with the startups that are our customers. No? And we ask all of them what should be improved in Andalusia in order to build a diagnosis of situation. No? And after that, we work with them on different focus groups to identify the strategic lines and the main actions of the plan. So as a result of this work, so I will give you a consensus opinion. I could give you 3 key aspects that we have to improve in Andalusia. In the first place, Javier, we have to provide resources and support to our startups along their life cycle, from the conception of the idea until the consolidation of the business, in order that no high potential startups have to go abroad to find other supports. And in second place, we would like to launch open innovation initiatives based on public and private corporate needs and connect these needs with our startup ecosystem, because we see this as a win-win activity, because it is a very good way to introduce innovation in other activity sectors like public sector while promoting business growth for startups and connecting them with these potential customers. No? And so resources and support for startups along their life cycle, open innovation initiatives, and lastly, in the third place, we want to increase our financing support for companies, no? To prevent them from leaving Andalusia searching for other opportunities.
I guess that's where the funding line you spoke previously fits.
Exactly, because you know we lack density of companies both in size and number, and this makes that investors move to other hubs looking for this for a greater number of startups. So.
Thank you. Loreto, sorry to interrupt you, but Jose, last 4 minutes for you.
Sure. I think many of the same things apply to Galicia too. And looking at this issue from a more holistic perspective, like I think ultimately an issue that I keep seeing everywhere, and I think for Galicia and for many other places, is how can the different actors within the ecosystem work better together, always with something really important in mind, which is founders should be at the center, right? So ultimately, these startup communities are almost systems within systems, right? You have a first layer, which is the startup community. And I think an issue that all of us have, is that we sometimes talk about startup community. Then we also talk about startup ecosystem, right? And we use those independently of the context. And I think it's a first layer. It's almost like a nested doll where you have startup community first. Then the second layer is the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And that's where, government agencies enter, some corporations, right? Then you have the innovation ecosystem, and then you have the economy as a whole, right? And I think the challenge is how do you go from one layer to another one? And the fact that the disconnection between the different actors, what ends up happening is that there's a lot of activity and a lot of different, policies from the government or activities from corporations or universities at the ecosystem layer, right? But the most important thing is the startup community layer. You can have a lot of activity at the government level or the university level, but if there's a lack of founders and a lack of startups, you're going to struggle, right? And making an impact on the startup community layer, it's fairly easy. It's making sure people is connected to each other, making sure founders are connected to each other and helping each other. It's events like this one, right? It's these activities that basically build connections within people, right? And then when you start working at the second layer, the ecosystem layer, just talk to the founders, right? And ask them, what do you need? If you don't want to leave, if you want to stay here, what do you need? So I think for us and for many places is, that relationship with the different actors and governments, and understanding that, for a government or for a university or for a large corporation, their connection or their overlap with startups, it's minimal. It's a part of what they do, right? Because sometimes the people that we come from the startup world, we tend to think that, oh, this should be your top priority. Well, maybe not, right? But for the people within the government or the corporation or the university that are in charge of relationship with startups, let's just ask founders directly, what do they need? And they will tell you, right? Going back to the love of place idea, they want to stay there and grow their company there, right? And hire people and bring people. So I think it's that connection. But I think that's always going to be almost like an imperfect thing. It can be improved all the time, for sure.
Yeah. So many common grounds and ideas. Truly interesting. Loreto, Jose, thank you so much for your insights. It was truly interesting, at least for me.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. And now let me introduce you to Paloma Mas from Startup Valencia and Plug and Play, who is one of the pillars of the Valencia ecosystem. Paloma, the floor is yours.
You are not right, Iglesias. We are a whole amazing community of people around Valencia. Bye, Javier. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Paloma. Nice to meet you. I'm part of the ventures team at Plug and Play. First of all, I have to say that Javier, Loreto, and Jose, you were wonderful in the panel, and I have to say hi to my best friend Iglesias. Hi, Jose. Good to see you here. But now I want to introduce wonderful leaders in the startup ecosystem. We are super happy to have them here. So I'm going to ask Yolanda, Patricia, and Marta to join me in this panel so that we can start with this corporate perspective panel. There they are. Hello, girls. How are you?
How are you? Hello, Paloma.
Hello.
Happy to be here with you all.
Let me introduce all these amazing women. So we have here Patricia Pastor, the Managing Director at GoHub. Hello, Patricia.
Hello to all.
We have also Yolanda Perez, Director at B Startup from Bank Sabadell. Hello, Yolanda.
Hi, Paloma. Hi, Patricia, Marta. Happy to be here with you all.
And last but not least, we have Marta Antunes, Director at Guaira Barcelona. Hello, Marta.
Hi, Paloma. Hi, all. And thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this panel.
our pleasure to have the three of you here. We're going to talk about corporations and what they're doing exactly in the startup world and in the innovation world. But first, I want you girls to introduce yourself a little bit, and we would love also to know a little bit more about the initiatives that your corporations are doing. So we are going to start in the order that I have just in my screen, that is Yolanda, Patricia, and Marta. So Yolanda, please, let's introduce yourself and let us know a little bit what is doing Be a Startup in the startup ecosystem.
Well, I'm, as you have said, I'm the director of Be a Startup at Banco Sabadell. I've been working for the startup ecosystems before that, I don't know, for 20 years from Barcelona, and now for all Spain since I joined Banco Sabadell, almost 8 years ago. And Be a Startup is Banco Sabadell's program aimed at supporting innovative entrepreneurs in order to guarantee the success of their projects. Our approach is maybe a little different than the other corporates here, because we mainly offer to startups and scale-ups in Spain specialized banking services and VC investment. Besides that, of course, we can study the potential synergies between the startup products and the innovation processes of the bank to include them in our open innovation strategy. And Be a Startup, we facilitate that process. And as regarding banking services, we offer startups specific financial products and a specific credit risk assessment through account managers that only work for startups and scale-ups and VCs. And regarding our venture capital activity, we are focused on early stage companies with a technological and digital component. We are sector agnostic, although we have launched 2 verticals, one in health and the other one to invest in carbon removal startups. And additionally, these startups early stage investments, Banco Sabadell can provide follow-on investments to portfolio companies, and also stands for an open innovation model, as I was explaining before. In brief.
Perfect. Thank you, Yolanda, for this wonderful introduction. Now we are going to let Patricia to introduce herself and also to know a little bit more about GoHub.
Well, thank you, Paloma. Hi from all the Startup Sesam community. It's a pleasure to have you another time, because as we know, they came to Valencia, I think 4 years ago, and it was a pleasure to have again the Startup Sesam community with us. Well, in GoHub is the deep tech innovation hub and corporate venturing from Global Omnium. Global Omnium is one of the top 5 water utilities in the world, and we are present in 4 continents with more than 7 million customers. And since 2019, we're investing in startups that use deep technologies to solve challenges in industry for that zero, smart cities, and efficient water management. We currently have a portfolio of 26 companies and more than 13 million invested, and GoHub leads a new wave of technology change that promotes the sustainable digitization of the industry and generates business opportunities with positive social impact. And now we are launching a new product that I hope that the next week we can announce to the world. And what we pretend is to be the most important hub of water technologies in the world.
Perfect. Patricia, thank you so much. We will stay tuned to hear your news in the company. So excited. Last but not least, Marta, we would love to know a little bit more what is Guaira about, and know a little bit more what you're doing.
Yes. So hi everybody. So my name is Marta Antunez, and I'm the director of Guaira Barcelona. Guaira is the open innovation hub of Telefónica. What we do is we find startups that can help accelerate Telefónica innovation. We have several hubs around the world, in Europe and in Latin America. And I'm responsible for the Barcelona hub, who is also looking at the Valencia region. So very looking with a lot of interest now what's happening in Valencia, because it's growing a lot, the ecosystem there, and we're partners of Startup Valencia, and very excited to be part of the meeting today. And so what we believe at Guaira, no, is that at the end, no, innovation drives business, no, and it's important for a big corporate like Telefonica, no, that to of course continue innovating internally, but also it's important not to look outside, no, and find startups that can help accelerate this innovation. And what we do is we have a team of scouters, no, that help us identify these startups, and we invest in startups in the late Series A stage. And what we do with them now is we help them with business development. Either like Telefonica can become a client of the startup, or we can act as a channel and connect this startup with the millions of customers that Telefonica has, and help these startups to scale. No? Guaira is one of the pioneers, no, in open innovations in Spain. No? We've been around for 10 years, so this year is our 10th anniversary. And so far we've invested around 900 startups. And we always co-invest, no, with other VCs and also with other corporates. No? So it's for us it's very important, no, to be part of this ecosystem and have these connections, that because we believe that it's adding, no, all our strengths, no, that we will manage, no, to help these startups, no, to succeed and on the whole whole country. No? And in terms of sectors, no, also we're investing in a wide range of sectors. Of course, things that are close to our core areas, no, like IoT, big data, gaming, video, etc. But also in other areas, no, like e-health, fintech, artificial intelligence, no, that where we are also we have a strong presence. And that's a little bit explanation of what we do. No, I'm sure, no, with the questions we can elaborate a little bit more.
Okay, Marta, thank you so much. It's a wonderful presentation, and also happy anniversary to Guaira after 10 years going on. So girls, let's start with the questions. So I'm gonna ask you the first question that it's key for everybody to understand what corporations are doing in this world. The reason to ask you this specific question is that everybody understands that corporations are key to make a really like healthy ecosystem, and to really make the ecosystem grow also in the years that they are developing startups and they are creating startups. But I would love to know a little bit, and this is one question with two different perspectives. I really want to know what is kind of the motivation that like brings you to do those initiatives, like those hubs, those CVCs, into ecosystems such as like Valencia, Madrid, or Barcelona. And also would love to know what is kind of your role in the ecosystem, no? To summary, I want to know your exactly motivation to do this initiative, and also to understand a little bit what is your role, or what do you think is your main role in this ecosystem. So if you want, we can start with, like, on the opposite. We can start now with Marta, going to Patricia, and then to Yolanda, and I will move this order as soon as we make more questions. So Marta, tell us the motivation that Guaira has to do those initiatives.
Okay, so yes, so as I was saying, no, I think nowadays corporations and in particular Telefonica, no, has acknowledged, no, that if they want to stay relevant, no, in this world, no, that moves so fast, no, it's important, no, to look outside, no, and to understand, no, what is happening and what these tech disruptors, no, are doing, no, in order to be competitive, no, and to offer, no, the latest technology, no, to our customers, no. So we've put together this open innovation strategy, no, with a clear focus, no, to bring, no, this innovation from the startups to Telefonica and work together, no, so that we can provide, no, the best innovation to our customers, no. And for us, no, it's very important to respond to the second question. No? For us, it's very important, as I say, no, to collaborate with the ecosystem and to have an active role, because we believe, no, it's it's an addition of different pieces. No, we don't want to be like the only investor or the lead investor. No, when we invest in a startup, we normally co-invest with other investors, with other corporations. And what we believe, is our role is to be more a kind of a strategic investor that can help this startup scale, thanks to these connections, to Telefónica, and can also help the startup connect with Telefónica Corporation, which is like a big group, and for a startup, try to navigate and contact different people in the organization is a challenge. So our role at Guaira also is to help this startup connect with the right people at Telefónica that can help them scale and do more business.
Perfect, Marta. I mean, it's a wonderful, you just mentioned be competitive, the collaboration and the strategy side, and also connect with the key agents. Let's see now GoHub's perspective. Patricia, what was your motivation to brought this initiative into the startup world?
Yes, I think that in the last 2 years, we have become an important player in investing in deep technologies that is not very common in the startup ecosystem, on investors ecosystem in Spain. We are specialists in corporate venturing and a strategic partner for the startup. We provide technological value and market experience to startups. We are very our commitment is to help them. We are very close to our startups, and not only in the financial part, but also in the technological and product validation. I think is our strength, and we are the strategic investor, as we say, and we carry out an accompaniment and monitoring of each startup. And I think that is a very differential value today as investor. And also, for example, GoHub allows them to test this slower cycle technology with use case within a large company such as Global Omnium. Global Omnium, as we have said in the 2 years, is a pioneer in digital transformation by applying disruptive technologies in their day-to-day for more than 15 years. And in this way, startups are able to replicate this case in other companies, and we provide them this solvency that they need, and is that way they can scale faster. And I think is our most differential value as VC, and also we, after our bet in deep technologies, I think that there are other funds that are co-invest in deep tech since we have started in the ecosystem.
Amazing, Patricia. So really interesting facts such as the scale faster side, that is also super important, help them with all the issues that they may have created in the company, and also this the differentiate value of investing in technologies that are not common or that we don't see so much into the investment side. Okay, thank you so much, Patricia. Yolanda, your turn. Let's see what Be a Startup does, and also a little bit what motivates you to do those initiatives into the startup world.
Yes, well, a lot of reasons have already been said by Patricia and Marta. It is obvious that it's necessary to innovate in order to keep providing value to our customers and stakeholders, and it's essential in order to be able to adapt to the speed of changes and transformation we are seeing in our society, and that is therefore demanded of us as companies, And taking advantage of being part of the startup ecosystem is our main strategy. And well, regarding our role, as I was saying before, our main objective is to be a relevant financial partner of startups, scale-ups, and investors, and also to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem in general. For instance, supporting the initiatives that we believe to strengthen the startup ecosystem in Spain, as we do with Startup Valencia, for instance, who is doing a great job. And we try to be connectors also and collaborate with other corporations as GoHub or as Guaira. And I think every large corporation, in addition to investment, clearly should have a role as a booster for technology demand also. In our case, we are a gateway to the bank to put proposals of interest in contact with the corresponding departments. And there are already startups that are suppliers of the bank, of course. Others are jointly developing pilots. And another role of the corporations, of course, is injecting liquidity into the system through M&A operations. In our case, the bank has so far acquired 2 Spanish fintech startups, and well, we think this will be an increasing trend in the next years. And well, corporates that have been in business for a long time have accumulated knowledge of the business, have a developed organization, relevance in the market. So we can offer an attractive arena in which to find models that enable startups that already have a strong product to develop and evolve also. And as a corporate, of course, we can also bring to them credibility, networking, visibility to these startups we invest in. Well, I would say this is our main role.
No, but amazing, Yolanda. I'm going to keep a few ideas that you just mentioned, like the ones that the corporations need also to be players on boosting the startups. This is super important too. And I keep this idea of that to become the relevant financial partners in the Spain and the world. Also, you have to get in touch with the startups to be better than the others. So we really are going to keep that idea. Yolanda, also starting with you, let's go to the next question. As you remember, I mean, a few years ago, there were only a few partners that were doing, few corporates that were doing like really innovation hubs for startup. They were investing in startup. But in the last, I would say 5 years, we have seen a bunch of corporates blooming their innovation hubs and also doing a lot of initiatives. I'm going to ask you, and I want you girls to have your sincere answer. It's good to have competitors, so to say, in the startup world that are fighting or are doing kind of the same initiatives. Yolanda, starting with you, do you think it's a positive thing for the ecosystem, or do you think it should be a little bit more control?
Well, for the ecosystem, this is good for sure, for the ecosystem. We think so. At the end of the day, each company has its own needs, as diverse as the solutions developed by startups to meet them. And I think there's plenty of room to generate synergies between corporates and between businesses. For instance, also initiatives as Startups Valencia Corporate for Startups show that there is a willingness and a need for communication and for collaboration. But of course, you were asking for sincerity, but of course, when instead of looking for synergies, for open innovation, the approach, I mean, it's different when the approach is a pure investment approach than when the approach is an open innovation approach. And the issue might be different because we find that often the financial investor looks for some things and the industrial or strategic investor maybe looks for different ones. I mean, well, simplifying things a lot, the strategic investor sometimes wants to buy the company as soon as possible and cheaply as possible, and the financial investor wants to sell it as costly as possible. I mean, this will be simplifying things a lot, but I think that the best would be to try to combine both approaches. And I think that corporates that have been in this for a long time knows very well that this is the right path, and that the best is to try to maximize the value of the company. And so I think that yes, this is good. This is good for the ecosystem and for the startups, and also for the corporates at the end of the day. Yeah.
Thanks, Yolanda. Taking these ideas of that there's plenty of room, of course, and the need of collaboration, plus this kind of like be aware of what are kind of the needs and the objective on the investment side. So thanks so much for that answer and to be honest with us. Patricia, what is your perspective? It's good to have now so many competitors in the space.
I agree with Yolanda. It's not a matter of competition or rivalry. No, corporates can collaborate. Better say, corporates must collaborate. In fact, as Yolanda said, we join forces with other corporates and we go further together. No, I think that we need more corporates that are investing in startups, because for example, with Wayra, we have some co-investment, and also startups are our clients, and they can scale faster with us. And also, I think it's better for the ecosystem that the mindset of corporates is to be close to startups, no? And in fact, I think that most of corporates in Spain are investing in the same technologies as EA, cybersecurity, IoT, RD, 5G. Then the reason that a startup can internationalize this product is to make use case in their corporates in Spain, and to replicate it in other ecosystems, no? And I think that we must to learn the culture to invest in startups to the most of the economic corporates from Spain, no?
Perfect. Thanks, Patricia. We will keep that idea of the need of even more corporates joining to the startup world by investing and also doing their initiative, and the need to collaborate between the others. So thank you so much for the sincere words. And now, Marta, your turn. Let's see your perspective on this question.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, what with Yolanda and Patricia were saying. No, I would just add, for us, I think it's important also for a corporate open innovation initiative, no, to keep reinventing itself. No, so at Wayra, no, we started as an accelerator. No, we've been changing our model, no, in the last years, and sometimes it's very interesting, no, share with other corporates what they're doing in order to keep on learning, no, how we can pivot, no, and be a startup ourselves, no, and adapt, no, to be, no, to offer the maximum value to the startup, and at the end, of course, it's positive, no, that more corporates and more money, no, and more investors, no, are active in Spain, no, and but of course, there's also, no, sometimes there's competition, no, for good startups, no, they can choose a limited number of investors, no, and what is important for us, no, is one, have access to good deal flow, no, so to be able to know, no, the startups, no, that will be the potential unicorns of the future, no, and then also, no, and position ourselves as I said before, as a strategic investor that can add them more value, no, than a purely financial investor that, of course, they will have, though there will be VCs also in their cap table, no, but also, no, be able, no, to invest in these startups that where we can help them scale, and in Spain, but also in other markets, no. So for us, for example, no, a lot of startups are interested that Telefónica can help them scale in Latin America, no, and then that's why we manage, no, to get in these, no, in these startups, no, be able to invest in these startups because they see in us, no, this potential partner.
Okay, so thank you so much, Marta. I'm also gonna take two words that I love from your answer. The fact that reinventing, it's super neat, and also the fact of like choose and have the possibility to select the perfect partners, you know, the perfect players to go with. So girls, sad but true, we are on time, but I want to, because I really want to do a last question for you. I'm not going to do it because the organization is going to kill me, and I don't want that. We want us to be in other panels. So I'm going to ask you on Twitter, the last question that is about trends. I want you to think about it so that everybody can also follow us on Twitter. I can know exactly what GoHub, Be a Startup, and Wayra are betting for the next trends on 2021. So girls, thank you so much for joining us in this panel. I hope to see us in person as soon as possible. And let's stay connected. Thank you so much, girls.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paloma.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And I'm extremely pleased to welcome Ben, that is already here with us in the panel. And also want to invite also Juan Luis. And please stay tuned because the fireside panel is going to start right now It's going to be amazing. Ben, you have the word right now.
Thank you, Paloma. Thank you so much. Good to be back in today's session. Juan Luis, are you with me?
Yes, I am with you, but I cannot start video. Someone must. Okay, now the host.
There you are.
I should be there.
Yeah, you're with me. Amazing. So we're back. Right now we have like a little time to dive in a bit more into what's going on in Valencia, and also to discuss your annual event, the Digital Summit.
Yes.
And then we have a last session with like a fireside chat with startup founders, stories. So I was like telling you earlier that my own personal experience with Valencia is that I was visiting the city quite a lot since 2012.
Okay.
And we hosted our own annual Sesamers Summit there in 2018. It was a very small one. 2019, we made it a bit bigger. And I've seen the ecosystem grow. I've seen it like with my sort of external view, like going there frequently. I could see the evolution. And I was wondering as a starting point to like how did you see it yourself? Like how was this growth from the inside? And also let us know a bit more. What do you think about the reasons for this growth?
So thank you, Ben. And everything started more than 10 years ago. There was already a small but thriving ecosystem. We are the third city in Spain, so it makes sense also to be the third ecosystem. But at that time, I think we weren't. And some events, they were already happening. I think we brought First Thursday here with investors around 2007. But around 2011, so 10 years ago, we start to see the first accelerators coming to the city. First, it was Business Booster, now Draper V1. And then one of the, I think it was one of the inflection points was the arrival of Plug and Play. Having one of the top accelerators in the world coming from Silicon Valley and launch their first chapter here in Europe, in Spain, in Valencia, was really important for the city. In fact, later we went to launch in Berlin, in Paris, in other cities. And I think definitively accelerators gave a lot of visibility to the city. We managed to bring most of the top investors to the city, angels, VCs. Most of them, they have never been here before. I mean, they have been before to go to the beach and to have a paella, but not to meet other companies, not to see what we were doing here. And after that, we started to see other accelerators and incubators follow. And now we see Demium, we see Lanzadera, we see Climate Kick, we see Insomnia, Social Nest. So I think we have now around 20, 21 accelerators, incubators really active. And we have companies that started at that time, like Business Booster, Plug and Play now having the headquarters for whole Europe here in Valencia. So of course, having such a good bunch of accelerators, most of them still among the top ones in Spain, that help attract startups and talent to Valencia. We even attracted startups from Madrid that moved to Valencia to launch his company within some of these accelerators. And at the same time, we saw the evolution of the investment ecosystem, the VCs, angels, family offices. So I think 10 years ago, there was hardly any local VC or family office investing in startups, and only a few brave angel investors. And that with the help of accelerators, we started to have demo days. Everything started to grow. And a bit later, we also started to see the first corporates trying to be part of the ecosystem. So key reasons for this growth, I think it's a mix of being a medium city with a great balance between cost of living and quality of life. And also the opportunity of having a top technical university with a good pool of talent. We also have been historically a top entrepreneurial region. So Valencia has been always really entrepreneurial, and there wasn't any reason to not have also tech entrepreneurs here. And also the good communications, and I am sure the launch of the high-speed train between Valencia and Madrid with 90 minutes, you can be in Valencia to make business, to meet VCs, or vice versa, to have VCs come here and go back in the same day. I think that made one of the reasons. Also with a decent airport with good communications, connections to biggest European cities. But yeah, I think that's overall what I think it happened in the last 10 years. Still, I think still we are a young ecosystem, and still I think there are a lot of things missing, for sure.
So actually, what's missing? Yeah, that was my follow-up question. What do you think is missing right now in the ecosystem?
So, and maybe the right word is not missing. I mean, I don't. Looking at our ecosystems, I think we all need time. Right? I don't think there is an ecosystem in the world that growth, yeah, maybe some ecosystems in China, but overall, I think we are still a young ecosystem. I think we need, like already happened in Madrid and Barcelona, some exits, some examples, second and third generation entrepreneurs. We need more investors, we need more corporates. So I think we need time. And we also need, and I think it's important, the total support from local and national government. I think we are still fighting for the last 10 years. We are still asking the same questions and asking for the same things. I mean, we need help with to bring talent, with visas, with less paperwork. We need help with startup, startup and tech companies laws, and we are working for years on that. All the governments, they say, okay, we're working on that, but it doesn't happen. I think, but that's overall for all the ecosystem, not only the Valencia ones.
Yeah.
But I think we are still young. Again, we are starting to see, and I think we'll speak later about that, the first big exits.
Let's talk about it. Like actually, there was recently a company that was originated in Valencia called Flywire.
Right.
Now US company, but like the founders were started in Valencia, some of them.
Right.
And they just IPO'd like what, 10 days ago?
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks. Or exactly. I think that's one of the perfect examples, and maybe one of the catalyst of a growth. And we have seen in the past in Barcelona with the exits or IPOs in the past with other big companies. I mean, Flywire was launched in Valencia. The founder Iker is from Valencia. They always had an office here and a big team, and now they IPO. What does that bring to the city? Of course, they had business angels from Valencia. So I mean, these exits they only bring good news. I mean, the early employees that had some stock options, they can start investing in other startups. They can launch their own projects, and of course the angels that invested in these companies, they can also continue investing in other companies. Also, other VCs, other family offices, they start to see that there is a good opportunity around that, and even being not easy, but having the first unicorn in an ecosystem, or the first company going public in US, it's really a good news, and it can only help grow the ecosystem. And
who's going to be the next one? Who is going to be the next unicorn out of Valencia?
As the president of Startup Valencia, I'm not allowed to bet on that.
But give me some other good news. Give me a couple more good news from the local ecosystem.
We have really good and interesting startups. We have Jeff. You will speak later with them. We have Celeros. We have big companies and global companies like Big Buy, one of the biggest dropshipping companies around Europe. We have Deca Labs. We have 5Com. We have Internext trying to compete against Dropbox or Box. We have Rosita with Juan later. We have Bojam. We have Kibim, Sales Layer. So we have Streambloods. There are already companies, we should call them already scale-ups, raising bigger rounds, going global. And I am sure that in the next 3-4 years, we will have really good news and of course, continuing to work with the rest of the ecosystem. In the last year, we have seen a really high growth. Last year, we have a list of around 850 startups in the Valencia region. I think that's only increasing every year. And we have, I mean, it's a matter of time and quantity as well. If you have a lot of startups, you know, there will be always a few.
Yeah, concentration is a key. Yeah, and so like, let's see if we can help with that concentration and to accelerate time. How do you present the city to an international audience, right? Like, why should we all relocate, you know, to Valencia? Give me like the 1-minute pitch, please.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I have a 1-minute pitch, but I think what I always say is the balance between cost of living and quality of life is not easy to outstrip. I mean, we know there are great destinations, and we know that after COVID-19 pandemic, there are even more candidates willing to attract startups, talent, digital nomads. But if someone takes some time to know the city and even the region, it's really easy to convince them to come to Valencia. And I can say some points. Why should you relocate to Valencia? I mean, weather, it's easy. Short mild winter, long mild summer, 300 sunny days a year, beach, mountains. Security, Spain is one of the countries, of the safest countries to live in, and Valencia is part of it. Valencia is really a safe city. Housing, in fact, if we compare with Madrid and Barcelona, here is around 20 to 30% cheaper, not to mention big Euro cities or big US cities. Office space at the same time is also cheaper than other destinations. Public transportation with a really strong biking community now, short commuting time, a strategic position in Southern Europe. We are really open to the world with good infrastructure. With the Port of Valencia is the main commercial port of the Mediterranean. Top international schools. I think that's really interesting thing for expats or people willing to come back to Valencia, or foreigners that want to come here with the family. We have top international schools, English, American, German, French, Italian. I think also really important is public free education, as well as the universal public health system we have in Spain. And of course, leisure, gastronomy, what can I say? And of course, our ecosystem, we are trying also to bring all the pieces together. And I don't think it's that difficult. I mean, I think it's easier for me to sell Valencia than to sell some of the services from my company. So.
Well, thank you. That was a bit longer than 1 minute.
Yeah.
Another good reason to go to Valencia is your annual digital summit. So I've been there myself already in the past. It's like the flagship event from Startup Valencia, and also like a key meeting moment for the local ecosystem. And you're growing it, like you're making it more international year after year. Tell us more about it. I'm on deck with your team to make it, more successful, more international than ever. What's in the plan? Like, what do you want to do with the event this year? When is it? What's the, give us the big picture, please.
So last year, we couldn't make it big as we wanted because of the pandemic. We did everything online. It was 100% virtual. And this year, we will host it the 15th and 17th of December. It was really, I mean, the dates were really packed. Everyone was trying to host events by the end of the year to avoid the pandemic. And we hope in the future we can come back to early autumn. But yeah, really happy, and it will be a mixed event, hoping to have at least 500-600 people coming physically to the event. It will be hybrid, and it will feature a mix of live and virtual components, combining both remote live speakers as well as having a lot of startups around it. We will disclose in a few days the where the event will be hosted. And we have a leitmotif and claim this year that is inspiring the good future, or inspiring a good future. So we are enablers of a technology-based future, and we are born to encourage restless minds eager to build a better tomorrow. So we have different agenda topics. One will be the good life, about health, science, aging. The second one will be the good city, where we have this year, we hope to have Miami as the guest city. We are working with them. Speak about ecosystem, communities, public and private collab, mobility, logistics. The third point will be the good growth, speaking about scale-ups, stories, workforce, what's changing around jobs, remote jobs, everything. Then the good company corporation, where we will have corporates speak about open innovation, digital transformation. And the last one will be the good knowledge, where we will speak about visions, inspirations, talent, education, leadership. We hope to bring, to have Valencia Digital Summit at the biggest and main technological event in the Valencia community. And we have also the support, this time we have the support from the government as well, to make it bigger and to try to compete against the bigger ones in the future, and hopefully also together with you, Ben.
Okay, so wait, before we wrap it up, and thank you for that. The event is on the 15th, 16th of December.
Yeah,
exactly. It's going to be hybrid, as you said, so like in person for those who can't travel. Maybe even the mayor of Miami is coming over to Valencia to enjoy, you know, the good weather in December and meet with the ecosystem. I have a question I need to ask, but we're getting to the end of the panel.
Yeah.
Where is Webit?
I don't know, really. I mean,
like, because you talk about the big events, you know, like you talk about like competing, you know, with big events, and it's true that Valencia has been in the sort of in the fight, you know, to attract big events, and I know a lot of them that have been, you know, in touch with different people over there. Webit was supposed to happen in person last year, it didn't, and now you have the opportunity to take that space with your own digital summit. Is it what you have in mind?
Yeah, what we have in mind, first of all, I see a lot of differences between our summit and other events. First, we are a non-for-profit company. We don't want to live around an event. I mean, we don't make a business. What we want is to have all the ecosystem around that and to bring all the best people, but we don't want to make a business around an event. And yeah, I don't know where Webit is. They failed to do the event. I think it was a political problem. I mean, we support a lot of events coming to Valencia, but we think that having already an event here and being able to do the same that others can do for Valencia, it should be done from inside. And hopefully we have the support from everyone here, from all the ecosystem, but also from the local government to make the event bigger. I think we can make it happen, and we are sure that nobody can do it better than our ecosystem can do, knowing what we want to do and how we want to grow. I mean, and that, I think that's the best news.
I agree with you, Juan Ruiz. You know, like one thing you said earlier is that it takes time. And taking this path that you're taking, which I, you know, fully support and admire, and I think this is the best, you know, way to do it. It takes time as well, you know, and that's what this is the trade-off that you have to go through. We're wrapping up. We have the next session, but just a last call to action to anybody here. Like, I'm receiving messages because I made, you know, the where is Webit question. How can we participate? Like, people who are watching this, who are abroad, you know, what can they do to support the Digital Summit and Startup Valencia?
Yeah, so we'll be 4 years from now event in Barcelona. We'll have a booth there end of June, and you can already join valenciadigitalsummit.com, where you can register for the event and see more details. We will be in the next few weeks. We'll publish new speakers and new panels, and we're working on it, but already open for registration. So we welcome everyone. It will be free, of course, free of charge, and we have to thank all the entities and all the partners that support us, the local government, but also all our local global partners of the association. And waiting for everyone to come to Valencia, end of December, 15th, 16th, and hope to have you on board as well, Ben.
I'm looking forward to it. This is the end of our fireside. I'm going to call our next, session, but we're going to come together just at the end, Juan Luis, you and I, to end up this tour stop. So thank you very much for this, conversation. Juan Cartagena, I'm calling you. You're the moderator of our next session. Are you with me?
Hello, Ben. Yes, welcome. Thank you for inviting me today.
Stage is yours. I'm out.
Wonderful. So I think this is going to be a great follow-up on the previous conversation because, as you guys said, Valencia is a very easy sell. It's a wonderful city where many things are happening, but there is a challenge to continue to bring more scale-ups to the place of being ready for IPOs, being ready for going to NASDAQ. And for that reason, I think that it's going to be great to have today Eloy, the founder of Jeff. I think he's already with us. Eloy, please.
Hi, Juan. How are you?
Fantastic. Hello, Eloy. So I was really looking forward to having this talk with you. I think that for people who don't know, it would be great if you can just quickly introduce yourself and introduce Jeff, and we can later go into more difficult questions.
Sure, happy to do it. So I'm one of the founders of Jeff. This has been my third company. And the truth is that I'm from the north of Spain. I'm from Galicia. I study abroad and also in the north in León. And then I decided at one point to come to Valencia. I started in an accelerator called Business Booster. And at one point, you have to decide what to do. We have offices in Madrid and offices in Valencia. And we decided to centralize everything in Valencia. Now we have Valencia and New York. And basically what we are doing at Jeff is that we are trying to democratize entrepreneurship. We are giving entrepreneurs software, know-how, and technology, and brand to run their businesses into different industries. Today we are operating in the laundry, beauty, fitness, and relax industry, and we're adding more now. And from the consumer perspective, we're trying to build a brand called Jeff that you can find wherever you want, online or offline. And now we are in 40 markets. We have more than 2,500 entrepreneurs operating with us, and it has been quite fun since we started in Valencia back in 2016.
That's wonderful. 2,500 entrepreneurs who, of course, are also hiring people, etc. So I wanted to ask you, about the whole scale-up journey more than anything. At what point do you realize that you have a scale-up, that you have found product market fit? When does it happen?
So for 2016, 2018, we were looking for product market fit. So quite typical and good, just 2 years in our case. Beginning 2018, we found that we have something in our hands. So we started to see a lot of traction, a lot of customer demand, a lot of entrepreneur demand. So I realized mid 2018, wow, this is something great. And the end of this year, we raised our Series A. But we were feeling it. We were feeling it that, wow, we need to scale. We opened 5 markets or 6 markets, I think, in 2018. And things become more and more complex over time. So the good part is that you feel it. The bad part is that it's quite difficult to scale at the same level.
What are the first steps that you take when you are, building that scale up? What does it change from the moment of the startup to the scale up? Most people say, well, that's when I don't know the names of all my employees, etc. But what do you actually have to do to change the company?
So it's a very good question. I think it's a couple of things. So one is try to hire. You always say that, but you have to do it. Try to have people that's much better than you. You are there to be right in the strategy and the vision, but not in the tactics and details. So you need people who is much better than you in different areas of the companies. Second, I think is about you are not controlling everything any longer. So forget about it. You can sometimes get into details if it's good for the company, but you cannot control everything. You just have to let it go. And then at one point, you just don't know the number of your employees. So at one point, what normally happens is that you are not hiring everyone. So you control quite good the culture when you're hiring everyone, but at one point you can just not do it any longer. So this is also a big challenge.
But also as a founder, you said that you cannot control everything, but I can imagine that you will have some some areas where you want to actually control. What are those things that you are you find more difficult to let go, and that you actually want to see, you know, the fine detail of things? What are those things that you are keeping as a founder?
Well, personally, I'm not involved in any area since the beginning, so I have been always quite horizontal. The thing that I have been very involved when we were scaling was in culture. So at the beginning was trying to find product market fit and figuring out the business model. Then was trying to help to establish a sales organization, how to run all the processes. But from mid-2018 to 2020, I have been very much focused on culture. So how we structure internal processes, how we keep everyone aligned. So I devote most of my time between Series A to Series B into culture.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It really feels like something that can scale into the future. And how have you changed as a, you know, as an entrepreneur, as a person, well, as the company was growing with you?
Well, you change a lot. Change a lot. So I say that each quarter you should change. So each quarter you're a different person because you have to focus on different things. But I think in our case, we started quite young, the company, so we have been evolving with the company. But you guys just more mature, more calm. It's difficult for an entrepreneur, but you understand that things take time. So you push yourself to understand that things take time. And always is to find a balance, you know, to try to go aggressive, but not that much. Try to focus on things that can make a difference, or focus on things that is just needed but will not make a difference. So at one point I has been very focused to, okay, do things that can make the difference. Now I understand that you have to focus on what is needed, and sometimes this will not make a difference, but it just need to be done. So I think this is the main change that they have lived during the process.
And Eloy, everyone I know who knows you tells me that you're one of the most ambitious people they know, in terms of you know, looking for massive scale and expanding to different markets and expanding to different areas. You are looking to grow into the US now. Can you tell us a little bit about those plans and how that fits with having that base in Valencia, and what, you know, difficulties you have found or what benefits you have found from starting in Valencia?
Well, I don't think I'm that ambitious. I'm just quite
That's
below
what people tell me. That's what people tell me.
Yeah, quite below the average for an American entrepreneur. So the truth that maybe I'm more the typical Spaniard, but not. I cannot compete with a good American. So I have a lot of things to improve in order to be even more. But I think the main difference is the scale and the business speed. So what I find completely different in America than other markets is that things move much faster. So it's a real big market. So digitalized, people give you a chance to try things. So sometimes very difficult in some markets to penetrate and give the opportunity even to speak to the people. Here, no. Here you can just start even as an immigrant and move the things very fast. In the other hand, it's very competitive. So if you are behind something good, a lot of people will follow you and try to create even a better product than yours. So you should be able and ready to relocate. We have think about America for long, but we have just launched after 3 years when we found product market fit. And in our case, we knew since the beginning that it will be our biggest market, but we were not ready yet. So I think you have always to find your moment to decide which bets you are doing, which markets you are playing on. And in our case, it was about find the right timing to go to America.
Wonderful. It sounds like a really wonderful story. I have a little game for you for these 5 minutes that we have left. So I have some cards here. They are similar to Cards Against Humanity, but let's call them Cards Against Startups. They are for creatives, so they are not really for startups. So we're going to make a little game. So I'm going to take a few of these questions and I'm going to ask them to you. This will be really hard questions, okay? So this is going to be more about learning about you as a, you know, how your head thinks, how you think as a person. And then they might not make sense even as a question at all. So you can just pass if you don't want them, if you don't want to answer. But it can be about something that from the past, something that sparks something in your brain about the future. It can be about anything. Okay, so I have a few cards here. You can choose 1 to 5, and then I will ask you that question.
In the middle.
Okay, the one in the middle. Okay, so this question is saying, what happens with your startup if you involve the local community more? How are you thinking about local communities?
I think it's quite important, especially for recruiting. So in the early stage of the company, it's much easier to recruit people locally than internationally. I think if you are well connected, you can access to very talented people and also from people who's coming. So for a selfish way, it's very good for recruiting. And then for a more long-term vision way, I think, we are in part of an ecosystem, so we have to give back. And if you have this kind of thinking, I think it's something that helps yourself, but also helps the city. And, if it's important for you, you will feel better. So I think it's very important for selfish way and also for long-term way.
Wonderful. That seems like something that can fit into the future. I have another one. Okay, 1 to 5.
5.
Okay, so this one. What if you showed the benefits of living with less? So how you're thinking about, it can be about anything. It can be about the customers. It can be about the entrepreneurs.
Living with less, with less things.
That's what the question says. Show the benefits of living with less. You can pass it.
Well, I think, no, it's a good question. So I think it's what's, I don't have a strong point here. So I think each one can do what they want. I think people like to live with a lot and people that likes to live with less. I'm thinking quite a standard guy. So I have a normal life. So I don't have expensive things. But not because I have any point there, just because it's not a topic for me. So I'm focusing on that stuff. I think, okay, do what you want, If you want to live with less, live with less. If you want to live with more, live with more.
Are you finding, I'm following up from this, are you finding that some of your entrepreneurs are adding more and more Jeff stores?
Yeah, it happens all the time. So 25% of the entrepreneurs who has been with us for more than 24 months acquire new stores. Couple of Rita, I'm thinking about Rita and Gonzalo in Portugal. They just started with 3 and now they are growing to 50. Or I'm thinking about our friends in Kazakhstan. They are starting in Kazakhstan. Now they are starting with scaling to Russia. So yes, we have a lot of examples even to grow from one country to other country. So
wonderful.
Yeah. So yes, it happened. Now this is amazing. When you see that happening, wow, it's crazy.
Really, really, really wonderful. We have 1 minute, so let's go with one last question. Give me 1 to 5.
1.
Okay. This one is so easy. What if you help people initiate projects?
This is a very good question for us.
So continue with the previous one.
Thank you for raising it. So, you just feel helpful. Yeah, you just feel good. It's something so unique. Start business is tough, but the privilege to do it and the privilege to help is something amazing. I think in our case, we have the opportunity to help with 3 things. That's brand, know-how, and technology. All together is very powerful. So for entrepreneurs to have the option to compete with other big brands or other big long-term competitors because they have a platform that allows them to compete, I think is something very powerful. The same way that we are benefiting from the use of Zoom, Gmail, or Calendar, we see the same way from people benefiting from use Jeff to start their own businesses in the future. I think it's something that we are seeing with Shopify and with other models, and will become more and more powerful in the coming years.
Wonderful. We're out of time, Eloy, but if you want to give a final message or tell us something that you would like to share, this is your moment.
Well, just come to Valencia. So it's an amazing place where you can have a lot of fun, good weather. Jose Luis was selling very, very well the city, so I can not add more things there. I think the ecosystem is growing a lot. I think the city has everything to keep growing. And I just encourage people from Valencia, from other parts, to think out of their cities. Okay, you can create global business from wherever place in the world. Spain is not a big market, but it's a good place to create a team and to go for bigger markets. So let's do it. And I think Valencia is an amazing place to host your team, to create your culture, and to live and enjoy life. That's not just about work, it's also about enjoy your life.
Thank you, Eloy, and thank you as well for giving back. You are one of the, you and your co-founders with Jeff are also giving back already to the whole community, being one of the main sponsors of the Startup Association of Valencia and many of the events that are happening with you and your support and your offices. So that's wonderful to see. I think that we need to see more of those entrepreneurs that when they start to have success are giving back to the community as soon as they can, right? With that, I want to
well,
bring
Juan,
back
just one
Ben.
thing. Hopefully, soon we're going to see other things that we're going also to give value. So that's
I will look forward to that. Wonderful. Thank you. Ben, with this, we can say goodbye. So if you want to come back, we will be wrapping this event. And thank you everyone for participating and for viewing the event.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you, Eloy. Always good to see Eloy, in one of our events. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to the Spanish partners, all the speakers involved in today's event. As discussed, we're looking forward to attending the Digital Summit on December 15th, 16th, 2021 in Valencia, right? Like in person. At least that's the case for the team Sesame. You can rewatch the full session of today on our YouTube and Facebook channels in case you missed part of it. I personally really enjoyed the conversation that we had at the beginning about the different initiatives led by local startup ecosystems outside of Barcelona and Madrid, with testimonials from Galicia and Andalusia and also from Valencia. Next week, we're traveling to Istanbul, Turkey. The session is curated by Harekete Geçir. And if you're not registered yet, you can join the tour and get your tickets for the last 2 stops at tour.sesamers.com and subscribe to Selected by Sesamers, the event guide for professionals, so on selected.sesamers.com. Thank you to the team who makes this possible and to French Tech for supporting Sesamers on tour, and see you next week.